Who or what influenced you to do drugs and at what age? Did you feel pressured to do them?
When I was 12 years old, I had some friends that were drinking and smoking marijuana, and they basically asked if I wanted to do it. And the only pressure I would say I felt was in order to fit in at the moment. So, yes, and at the age of 12 is when I began to smoke marijuana.
What kind of drugs did you use and how long did you use them?
Uh, Marijuana was the only drug that I used, and up until the age of 17.
How did they affect you?
At the time, I thought it was a good feeling because socially it was a cool thing to do. It made me feel good and calm, and I laughed a lot. So I actually thought it was a good thing, and it didn't affect me in a negative way. I didn't know what I know now.
How did it affect your relationships and your activities in school?
It didn't, actually. I actually was able to do very well in school and even graduated with a scholarship to college.
How did you feel about yourself?
Sometimes I felt like I should not have, only because I knew it wasn't the correct thing to do as a child. But overall, I would say I really didn't feel any type of way.
When did you decide to discontinue the use of drugs and what drove you to that decision?
When I found out I was pregnant with my daughter, I did not do drugs. And then after becoming a mom, I decided not to continue to do drugs because I wanted to be a positive example for her.
What advice would you give to a teen that is curious about or feeling pressure to get involved with drugs?
I would give the advice to be an individual, talk to someone like myself or another role model that they respect, because they shouldn't give in to pressure, and drugs is not the correct thing to do.
Who or what introduced you to do drugs and at what age?
I'm 40 years old. I really never dibbled and dabbled in drugs, but most of my associates that I grew up with, some of them sold drugs and a few of them smoked marijuana, but they never, no one in particular really introduced me to it. It was just always around.
Did you ever feel pressured?
Not at all. I was one, maybe three out of my crew that grew up with that really never either bothered with marijuana or selling or any of that stuff. It just wasn't, part of us.
What was the reason that you chose not to get involved with drugs?
I kept asking myself why. Why do I have to? And the only reason I kept coming back to was it was a quick money maker. But I was always a hard worker, so it just never really was for me.
How did you avoid the use of drugs?
By working, just working and keep coming back to that question, do I need it? Why do I need it? I see people that smoke weed. I've been around people that smoke weed, and I see their health, their lips, and their smell, and all that stuff, and it just never really was for me.
Did you ever feel singled out from your friends, and how did your decision affect your relationships?
As a younger kid, not so much singled out, just more so I saw that the ones that were selling drugs or doing drugs, more so selling, they had more stuff than me. I was more reliant on my parents and my little job at the time at McDonald's. But I saw that the drug game, they would call it, they able to get more clothes and they was driving and all that stuff. So it not made me more jealous, but more like, why is it that way that when you sell drugs, you get stuff quicker? But so my mentality is always just to work hard and do it that way.
How did you feel about yourself?
I felt good because over the long haul, it showed me that working hard and being honest always pays off. And now that I can give that advice to my kids and those that I mentor, so I'm able to be a positive role model in that sense.
What advice would you give a teen that is curious about or feeling pressured to get involved with drugs?
One, talk to their parents about it. I think I have an open dialogue with the parents is about peer pressure. Not so much I want to smoke weed, but just peer pressure, and just be true to themselves.